parole is called back to order. Today's date is January the 30th. The time is 8:45. Our remote location this morning is at Louisiana Correctional Institute. With the staff there, please introduce themselves.
Good morning, Warden Kristen Thomas.
Tara P., ARDC Manager. Amelia Washington, ARDC Supervisor.
Dr. Amanda Lee, Medical Director.
Debbie Sharkey, Chaplain.
Thank you very much. Our first case is going to be Ginger Saucier. Ms. Saucier, would you please give us your full name and DOC number?
Ginger Saucier, 509-738.
Thank you. Ms. Saucier, let me explain our process to you. First, I'm going to read some information into the record. Then the board is going to conduct a parole interview with you. At the end of that, you'll be allowed to make a brief statement before the board votes. Do you understand our process?
Yes, sir.
This is the matter of Ginger Saucier. Her DOC number is 509-738. Her date of birth is June 30th of 1982. She is classified as a second felony offender. She has a parole eligibility date of May 29th of 2018, adjusted good time date, June the 6th of 2026, and a full term date, June the 1st of 2027. She is currently serving a 12-year sentence on the charge of simple burglary after having been adjudicated a habitual, simple burglary of an inhabited dwelling after having been adjudicated a habitual offender. Does that all sound pretty correct, Ms. Saucier?
Yes, sir. Sure does.
Ms. Saucier, your case has been assigned to me, so I will initiate our interview process. Would you tell me your age, please?
I'm 40 years old, sir.
And how long have you been in prison on these charges?
This year will make my 8th year, sir.
Tell me a little bit about your educational background. Where'd you go in school?
I went as far as 11th grade in school, sir, but since being incarcerated, I have gotten my GED in school back in 2018, June 5th, 2018. I obtained my GED. The following year, I got into Ashland University, and I am still currently enrolled in Ashland University, sir.
What sort of courses are you taking at Ashland?
Right now, I'm taking a criminal justice in sociology, and I'm also taking a reading class in Ashland University, sir.
How long have you been enrolled in Ashland?
Since 2019, sir.
And how many credits have you got? Do you know?
I haven't got my up-to-date sheet yet, sir. She was supposed to bring it to me this morning, but it has not reached me yet. I'm sorry for that opportunity.
Give me a guess.
Roughly probably around 40, 45, maybe.
Okay, good, thank you. Let's talk a little bit about what happened. This was your aunt's house.
Yes, sir.
Tell me what was going on. Tell me who you were 8 years ago when all of this was going on.
I was a very bad person 8 years ago, sir. I can admit that I was a very bad person and I was doing the wrong thing. I was into a little drug activity, which
Let's talk about your little drug activity. What kind of drugs were you using?
I was using crystal meth. I had been on it for a little short period of time. I'm not gonna lie. I was on it only for a little 8 months. I can tell you that. I was on it for 8 months. I wasn't using very much. I probably used a gram. It'd probably take me using a gram, maybe I would say 2 months or so. I could use a gram in. It wasn't very heavy usage, and I was taking some pills like Adderalls and Vistarils and things like that.
Why were you doing it? You know?
Because at the time that I was using, me and my co-defendant, Melvin Jackson, we was having a hard relationship and he was abusing me, sir.
What did the drugs do for you or to you?
It kind of relieved the pain of me being abused, sir.
Tell me a little bit about what you have been able to accomplish in prison with reference to your drug issues. Now, I know you told me you'd only been doing meth for about 8 months.
Yes, sir.
Done anything before that? Started with marijuana, anything like that?
No, sir, I have not.
How about alcohol?
No, sir. I drink occasionally alcohol, like on New Year's or maybe 4th of July or things like that. But I'm not a regular drinker. No, sir.
Now, at the time of the burglary, do you believe that the drugs had something to do with your committing that crime?
I'm not gonna say that it did not. It might have had something to do with it because my mind was occupied with me being high. It might have had something to do with it, but not all of it, because I was at the wrong place at the wrong time. You know, I should have never went into that residence because I should have never followed my instructions. You know, I had been beat up earlier that day, but guess what? You know, I should have told myself, don't go. You should just take this butt whipping. You know, I should have never went in the first place. I should just took the butt whipping and just stayed at home and just been black and blue.
Now, there are some concerns with your aunt, about your threats at the time of your sentence. So tell me a little bit about that. Tell me about why it was on the day of your sentencing that you made some threats towards your aunt and maybe even her daughter.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest, sir. I was still, on the time of my sentencing, I was still high. I'm not telling no lies. I was still high because incarcerated, I was still using as incarcerated because we were still able to receive drugs while in prison. When I was up there at Concordia Parish Sheriff's Department on Highway 15, we was able to still use. Once I become incarcerated at this facility where I'm currently housed at, I have not used any drugs. I've been completely clean. I've gotten into some programs here while at the facility, like Celebrate Recovery. And I've had to do some hurt habits and hangups and learn how to be a better person for myself, not only for myself, but for my children, for my mother. And also, I've not only done that for them, I've also tried to better myself for my victim, because I know I hurt her in several different ways. And I'm very, very, very remorseful for what I've done, sir.
Have you had any discussions whatsoever with your aunt since this has all happened?
No, sir. I was told that I cannot have no contact with her for 12 years.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the other programs. You said you've taken Celebrate Recovery. You took Living in Balance as well, I think. Is that
Yes,
right?
sir. I took Living in Balance, and I've also taken anger management. As far as my anger management that I have taken, I learned to write down my problems and count from 1 to 10. And if I have any issues with my anger, I know to contact my social worker at the Mental Health Problem Center and tell them that I need to get in and see my social worker as soon as possible to help me with my medication and to change my medication because there might be a problem.
Let's talk a little bit about your sobriety plan. You were able to get out relatively soon. How would you be able to stay sober? Tell me what your plan would be in place to be able to make sure you don't go back to crystal meth, anything like that.
I have no problem with going into an inpatient if I have to, going into an inpatient, or also doing a Celebrate Recovery at a church, because I plan on going to a church as soon as I get out. I want a church family and I want to continue staying in my church life because I have gotten my life together, and I also have my boyfriend is a clean and sober, responsible person
He's
to
a
help me.
different boyfriend than before.
Huh?
There's a different boyfriend than your codependent.
Way different, way different. He's way older than I am, sir. He's 61 years old also.
That ain't real old now.
But no, sir, it's not real old. He's still young and kicking, just like you are, sir.
All right, well, thank you. What about AA and NA? Have you
I don't
done
have a
any?
problem. No, I don't have a problem with attending neither one of those, sir, not whatsoever.
Have you any experience with the 12 steps while you've been in prison?
No, sir, I have not experienced neither one of those because I was in school and I had a whole lot of work upon my platter. And then I also was working with the maintenance department. And at any time they could call me, anytime they could call me, or if they needed me to do anything else on this compound, I was always a responsible person to go and help at any time they needed me to work or do anything. I helped do car washing and different things like that. So I never attended any NA or AA, but I will be responsible enough to go attend NA or AA if I'm given a chance to go home.
Let me ask you this. How long were you in that abusive relationship this last time when you came to prison?
4 years, sir.
Had you been in previous abusive relationships besides that one?
Yes, sir. I'm gonna be honest with you, sir. The aunt situation, my aunt's situation with her, I had some abuse happen in that family also. I've had sexual abuse happen with the family there, but my crime had nothing to do with what happened. Nothing whatsoever.
Let me ask you this. Since you've been in prison, have you taken any courses? I know you've done some mental health work and you've got some that we'll talk about in a minute. But have you done any work on the trauma that you've experienced as a result of an abused woman? Tell me about that.
Yes.
Tell me.
Yes, sir, I have. I went through sexual trauma and I've passed sexual trauma, and I've also went through domestic violence. As part of domestic violence and sexual trauma, sir, this is one other thing. Because I'm going to school, as a matter of fact, my degree in school is criminal justice for juveniles. I would like to go help juveniles in the world these days and try to help them know what's different. What different is in the world. Not to get in trouble, not to abuse, and know what abuse is themselves. And if they are in trouble, they need to seek the troubleness out and go and get attention for that trouble.
Tell me about your transition plan. Where will you live if you were released?
I will live with my boyfriend and my son, which I've just got into a relationship 3 years ago. And my son has came today to be with me at my parole hearing. I have not seen him since he was a little baby, since he was 4 months old, and he has come today to be with me.
Let's talk a little bit about your medical condition. Tell me, I think the doctor is here. So why don't you tell me a little bit about what you understand your medical condition is, doctor, to explain it to us.
Well, sir, I was diagnosed April of this year with breast cancer. I have since then went in and had my breast removed. And I still have a long fight ahead of me. And I know it's a hard journey to go through right now. And I have a lot of medical support on my side. Not only do I have my boyfriend, I have many relatives that are here to support me and get me wherever I have to go. It does not matter if I have to go to New Orleans, New Jersey, New York, Hawaii, wherever I have to go. I'm gonna have the medical support to help me if I'm released.
Okay. Can we hear from doctor about what your medical condition is and what we will need, what she will need when she gets out?
Yes, sir. As of today, she goes for her last radiation treatment for metastatic breast cancer. She will continue to need to follow up with oncology because she will need further treatment, whether it be further chemo or further radiation. That's going to be the biggest thing she needs. She, again, follow-up tests as well, CT scans, ultrasounds, everything to keep track on this, and also working towards cure.
And are we satisfied that she's got a plan if she's released to be able to continue to do that?
Yes, sir. She does have a solid plan in place and follow up.
Thank you. Ms. Saucier, you have been in prison almost 8 years. You have no write-ups, is that correct?
No, sir, none.
That's pretty darn good.
Yes, sir.
You have a low risk. You've got opposition. You've got opposition from law enforcement. There's nothing you can do about that. You've got opposition. It sounds like that you really have gone through tremendous change since you've been in prison, especially since you've been where you are today. And I see you've taken victim awareness. What would you say? I know you seem to have had a troubled relationship maybe with your aunt. What would you say to your aunt today or to the victims in this case about the burglary? What would you say to them if you had something to say to them?
I want them to know that I am very remorseful for the crime that I committed. I want them to know that I'm sorry for any pain and pain that I may have caused, any fear that I may have caused in their life. And I want them to know that I won't be coming back into that parish where I committed their crime. I'm moving completely out the parish. I'm going to Rapides Parish. I'm not even going to be around that parish at all. Like I said, I'm sorry and remorseful for everything that I've done. And please give me the opportunity to show that I've become a better citizen.
What can you tell us about Ms. Saucier?
Sure. Ginger is minimum custody, and I know she talked about some of her educational accomplishments, and she worked in the maintenance department, which she was an extremely hard worker, worked every day without really even having to be asked up until she was sick. So right now she is currently housed in our infirmary setting, but we can even say for her, she's kind of a breath of fresh air for some of the other ladies. So even though she may not be doing the physical work anymore, she really is mentoring some of the other ladies who are in the infirmary, and just kind of a smile. And so we're very proud of her. And again, with no write-ups in the entire time that she's been here is also something to note.
Great. Thank you, Warden. We do have, I have a list here. You do have some people here in support. I'm not sure whether they want to speak or not, but Willard McBroyer, who is your boyfriend, is here. Is he here today with you? Oh, that's you today? Okay. Chance McBroyer, that's your son?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I see them there. Okay, and Donna McLaughlin, is your mom there as well?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, she's
Okay.
on.
Do any or all of you wish to speak?
I guess I need to speak.
Okay. Mr. McBroyer?
McBrayer.
You can back up.
McBrayer, okay, I'm sorry.
Ginger's been through a lot. We adopted her son when he was a baby. Myself and my wife have been deceased now for 9 years. The relationship between me and Ginger was the last thing in the world anybody had in mind. It happened. I've been through cancer treatment. I've had hospice called in twice. Have been told over 15 times you got less than 2 years to live. I'm standing here right now, cancer free. So I know what she's going to need. I know what it's going to take. I've let my family know. They've assured me that they'll be there to help any way they need to be. So as far as the medical needs and stuff like that, they'll be met. Whether it's New Orleans, Houston, Dallas, whatever. I've been a truck driver for over 42 years. So I can get wherever I need to get. And being gone through the cancer, I have a good idea of what's to expect and what we're going to see. As far as Concordia Parish and all, we're not going to be there. I can't change what happened. She can't change what happened. But we can change the environment that everybody's at. My house is a drug-free zone. I was an AFC foster father for over 10 years, which is special needs. The kids that didn't make it with us were institutionalized. So I have that training to fall back on, plus the cancer that I've had to deal with in the past. So she's there. Not just family, I've got close friends that are there. And we're not going to have the drama in my house. Period.
Thank you, Mr. Bray, and I hope that you remain cancer-free.
God protect fools, drunks, and idiots. So 2 out of 3 ain't bad. You figure out which one I'm not.
Chance, do you wish to speak?
No, sir.
He's kind of
Right.
shy.
How about Ms. McLaughlin? Do you wish to speak?
Yes,
Now
sir.
you gotta drive somewhere serious, mama.
Okay. We're ready for her to come home. We can't do this much longer, but we want her home. We love her and we're gonna take care of her. But we're gonna be there for her from now on. We've been there for her the whole time she's been down here, but we're gonna be for her when she goes home. We're gonna do all we can for her. We got grandbabies coming down.
That one won't quit happening.
Thank you, Ms. McLaughlin. We appreciate your comments. Ms. Saucier, is there anything you'd like to say before the board votes?
I just want to tell all y'all, I thank y'all for all the jobs that y'all do in our lives. And I want to tell y'all, I hope God blesses y'all's hearts. Thank y'all.
Board ready to vote?
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Saucier, it's really good to hear you talk. I'm glad you're getting some good medical treatment. Looks like you've got a really good transition plan. Mr. McBoyer, looks like he knows what he needs to do to take care of you, and he's willing to do it. I think obviously there's a very strong connection. He's adopted your son. He and his wife adopted your son over the last 8+ years. So you have great confidence, Father Warden. You've accomplished a lot of things. You're a young woman.
Yes, sir.
Got a life left. I hope that the treatment is successful. I do think concerned, obviously, about drugs in the past. So my vote today would be to grant your parole with the following conditions. Number one, that you certainly follow all your medical treatment, take your medication as prescribed, you go to all of your doctors as you need to. I want you to get a substance abuse evaluation and follow whatever treatment is required. I'm going to also that you recommend that you do 3 AA meetings per week. You can do those online, you can do those virtually, but I think it's something that you need to do to be able to maintain. I think the Alcoholics Anonymous is something that will help you as you move forward. So that's my vote. That's one vote. And I'm also going to ask that you have no contact whatsoever with your
And you can't respond the way you used to respond. You can't think the way you used to think because he's not coming at you that way. You're not instant hyper now. You in living and thrive. So I just want to prepare you for that. Don't mess it up. But my vote is to well for the reasons already stated on the record, and I concur with the special conditions that set forth. Best wishes to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Mr. Prince?
I concur with my colleagues. I would like to add one more special condition that if you ever have reason to go back to Concordia, that you get permission from the probation officer prior to going.
Yes, sir.
That'll be done. I can give you my word on that.
Thank you, sir.
David was.
Thank y'all so much.
You have 3 votes to grant your parole with the conditions as we have outlined. Good luck to you.
Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Bye.
I didn't realize she was in a wheelchair. My takeaway from this is the difference between how you approach things. We have seen people show up who are really sick, and it seems like everything is going against them, and they're depressed, and they show it, and I don't blame them. And then we see someone here that seems to just be taking on the challenges with a smile and dance in her step. And I mean, I thought this interview at the beginning could have gone either way. I mean, the idea that she didn't do AA and all of those things, but she had a comeback, and I'm happy for it. I think we can all learn a lot from her, because she came in here, it just seems like ready to fight, ready to live life, ready to take advantage of all the opportunity that she has, and way to go. And I do what Miss Wise said, I get it. She's right. Like she grew up her whole life in this situation. She might be looking for drama, so hopefully she can learn to stay away from it and be content with being happy. But with that, I'll let you go.